it is time for the power rankings of PSL going into week 4. Interesting week. We had a coach die on us, which was quite unexpected, and another one got lost in a bathtub full of dildos in Amsterdam, which good for him. Another thing I want to talk about, there were some incomplete games this week. With those people that I just mentioned, their games haven't been played yet, so I'm just going into the video. I don't want to wait. I just want to get the video out on time. So there's not much to say about those teams. They have moved down in the ranking. That's just simply because they haven't played their game, and I have nothing to go off. And teams would have moved up or down that were below them, or like whatever. I'm sure you all get it. Another thing, I'm gonna change how I do the weekly breakdown. I'm gonna make a second video and try to do the weekly breakdown in like video form instead of posting it just in like the league news channel thing on the Discord. I'm gonna try to do it, make a video of it, and see if you like that. See if you like that better. I just think it might be easier to just talk about it in video instead of writing like a bunch of paragraphs and everything. So I have 5 tiers of teams. Not a lot has changed. There's been a few moves, but I've got 5 tiers. The first tier is 28 to 32. Rampardos, Dallas, Cincinnati, Detroit, and then Chicago. Detroit is the team I want to talk about. They've moved up from 32 to 29. They did lose, but they put up a fucking good fight against Tampa Bay, who's like a legit team. He literally had them on the ropes the entire game, just kind of fell through at the end. But it was performance-wise, it was a very, very big improvement. And out of all the teams so far, they have shown signs of life. Out of all the teams in this bottom tier. But at the same time, I would also say their roster is probably has like the most holes in it because they just have all the dark types on the tier list. But I really want to see this team do well, and I'm glad that he kind of put Tampa Bay on the back foot and like really pressured him like that entire game. He did really fucking good in that battle. So respect to that. I'm moving them up from 29 to 32. The next tier of teams is quite big. So it's 18 to 27. So this next bunch of teams, they all have potential to be great. They just got to show it. They just got to show me. So Pittsburgh moved down a lot from 17 to 23, even though they're 3-0, but they've had 2 forfeit wins. And I did kind of I moved them by a little bit too far, even though I moved them to like 17 when they were like down near the 30s last week. But they didn't even win. They just kind of got a forfeit, and I just kind of put there because I thought, oh, that's cool. He kind of he's forced his opponent to forfeit 2 weeks in a row, which is a good strategy. You're getting wins, but does that mean you're going to win the championship? It means you're probably going to get to playoffs, but you haven't proven yourself to actually be able to put wins together against good teams yet, because they've just been forfeit victories. So I feel like I might have over-exaggerated a little bit putting Pittsburgh at 17. So I've kind of moved them back down to 23. Still a lot higher than what they were ranked at the start of the season. New York Gigantamax is another team I want to talk about. They got a pretty big win this week. They got a pretty big win against a very solid team. But there is one thing that we have to talk about. I don't know if this means the New York Gigantamax are really good, or the TM 49ers, the team that was ranked number 1, is now 0-3. It's just bad. Which I would like to believe that they are not, because the coach is good, the team is good. But they are 0-3, so you have to ask the question, are the Gigantamax actually good? Or is it the TM 49ers are just bad? It's one or the other. And I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. But I was impressed. They did get a win. They're 2-1. It was a rough week 1 start. The coach is very new to draft. He's got 2 wins back to back, so impressive. I believe Cleveland got a good win too, but Indianapolis is the other team I want to talk about. This team has fallen a lot from their original ranking at number 3. This team's been struggling a little bit, some rough losses, but they are at the top of this tier because I do think they can bounce back. I do think they can bounce back. I think they have the most potential in this tier to bounce back. I think Kansas City is always that team that I'll always love Kansas City. I always think they have potential to do something. They just got to pull through. Denver had a good season-saving win this week, and so did Cleveland, I believe. But the next set of teams are 17 to 10. Okay, these are the next set of teams. These are the teams that I think are just out of the top tier. They are just out of the top tier set of teams. Again, the team I want to talk about, Philadelphia. I don't know what the fuck to do with this team. Me trying to understand this team is like just a boy trying to understand females. Like, does she like me? Does she not like me? Is she only talking to me to fuck my dad? Why is she asking me if I have 3 jobs and stable enough to support a family? Like, I'm only 15. I don't understand it. That's me. I'm just a boy trying to understand women. That is me trying to understand Philadelphia. I don't fucking understand this team. They will lose to the worst teams in the league. They will fucking pull the pants down to the best teams in the league. I don't get it. I don't understand. But that is a good sign if you get into playoffs. If this team can get into playoffs and they're only facing good teams, maybe that's why they won the championship. They just have to face good teams. But I don't know what to do with this team. I don't know what to do with them. I kind of give up on trying to predict how good they are or how bad they are. I don't know what to do. So they're at 15. They can easily reach into the top tier of teams. Then when I put them there, they're going to lose to like the 32 ranked team. And I'm going to look like an idiot. Or I'm going to put them really low and they're going to come out and beat the number 1 ranked team and I'm going to look like an idiot. So I don't know what to do with this team. I'm just going to keep them near the middle. And yeah, I got no idea. San Francisco lost again. This team's probably the biggest surprise of the season, going 0-3, but they're still at 14. Because I think this team's really fucking good, and I would still pick them to win over the teams below. Or at least I would say they are most likely to win against the teams ranked below them. But they're just not winning. They're just not winning, and I don't know why. I don't know if the coach is there's a weird trend of coaches abusing substances, and I don't know if he's gotten on to that bandwagon. I don't know if he's kind of just followed along with the crowd and have started like abusing substances before his games. That's the only thing I can bring it down to. Or there was that rumor where there was a love triangle in the locker room. He said it was all sorted out, but maybe that's just coach talk. Maybe there is something going on there in the locker room, and there is a love triangle that he is involved in with these two Pokemon that it's just messing with the game plan and messing with the team on the field. They're thinking about love and boning each other instead of performing in the battles. Okay, make sure you perform in the bedroom and the battles, not one or the other. It's Crimson's life lesson. Okay, Minnesota. I believe this team's really fucking good. I believe it's a top tier team. But they have had 2 forfeit losses. So, 1, they haven't necessarily proved that they're that good. 2, I don't know if the coach's head is in the game. Because now, the difference between this one and the New England coach, actually I kind of skipped over New England a little bit here. Let's just go back to New England right now. New coach. They've only played 1 game this season. They have 2 games to go. I don't know how good this team is. Don't know where to rank it. I'm just going to let them play the games and we'll figure that out. So Minnesota's telling a similar thing. They've only played 1 game. They've missed 2. They've been forfeit losses. I don't know if the coach's head is in the game. But the difference between these 2 coaches, the past New England one, is that I know that Missouri has been genuinely busy. Compared to Walt just kind of like disappearing off the planet. I know that Missouri has been genuinely busy. So when I say I don't know if his head's in the game, I'm just kind of like talking shit. I know he's actually like properly busy. But you do have to say, if you're that busy, maybe it will affect your prep time. And that's going to affect your odds to win the championship in the end. If you're in the playoffs, people prep fucking hard. And if you just don't have time, that's going to affect you. Tampa Bay. really impressed with this team. This team's been good. This team's been good, but they did kind of get put on the ropes by the current at the time the 32 ranked team. So they almost dropped that game. Watching the game, I think Detroit just kind of popped off. I don't think this was saying that Tampa Bay was bad. I literally think watching that game, it was just Detroit popping off. Like, Hayden brought some heat and he played really fucking good. But this team is really good and they just pulled through in the end. I'm not going to put them in the top tier yet. I want to see let's just have a look at who they have coming up on the roster in the schedule. They have Seattle next week, which is a big game for them. And then they have the Rose Raiders. So next week, the next 2 weeks are going to tell us if this team is legit or not. The next 2 weeks are going to tell us if this team is legit or not. New York Aqua Jets, an illegal terror. They broke the rules. Was considering wiping this team from existence, but I thought, this coach seems pretty cool. I kind of like the Aqua Jets. I'll just keep them in the league. I won't completely erase them from existence. I'm just fucking around. This team, I like this team. I like this team a lot. They did win the game, but there was an illegal terror. It was a disqualification. I'm pretty sure they're kind of ranked where they were before. So the next tier, we've got 2 tiers left. The next bunch of teams, I think you can consider these teams left, all the teams left, these are the top tier teams. These are the top tier. But I have them separated from the best ones. They're the ones that are fucking insane. Like, these are the teams that are just unbelievable. But the other teams, I think they're just as good. They're just like a slight step behind. So I think it's 6 to 9. So these teams, I think they're really, really good. They're just as good as the top 5 teams. I just think there's a little bit of inconsistencies, or they haven't fully proven themselves yet to say, okay, these are the top 5 teams I'll put my money on to win the championship. These teams are all good though. So Seattle is a team where we have to talk about something with Seattle. We have to talk about something. They lose in big matchups. They lost to Baltimore. But Baltimore is a team that I think is within their tier and just as good as they are. But someone has to lose that game. And that's kind of the thing that I've noticed with Polley. There are games where, someone has to lose. Both of the teams are good, someone has to lose. And he tends to lose those games, but it's so competitive and close that it's like, well, if they just battled 10 times, it'll probably be split 50-50. And from watching those games, I would say it's like, okay, you just got unlucky. But this game was kind of an ass kicking. Baltimore kind of kicked his ass. And I don't really know what to do with it. Next few weeks going to be pretty telling as well for this team. So I think they got Tampa, and then to finish off the season they have Washington, that's going to be a good game. Washington, Seattle. I've been waiting for that game all season. There's a reason I put it in week 5 with the rivalry games last season. It was insane. Probably the game of the year, or one of the games of the year. It came down to literally 50-50. Like, it was RNG. It was probably in Seattle's favor, and then Washington got it. If I remember, it was something crazy like that. And they are the 7th and 8th ranked team. So yeah, the next 2 weeks for Seattle, they're going to tell us if they deserve to be in the top tier. If they split 1-1 between Tampa and Washington, cool. If they go 2-0, cool. If they go 0-2 and they lose again to more good teams, that's going to be rough. It's going to be rough. And it will actually eliminate them from playoffs. They're in a spot where their division, they're in the weaker division, they can split it and still make playoffs. But winning both will lock it in. And it'll be interesting to see how this team goes in playoffs. They have 2 big games and they have to make the playoff run. So he has the full opportunity to make me eat my fucking words and win the championship, and that's exactly what we'll try to do. I know he just, all this stuff just feels it. Jacksonville. They lost to Philadelphia. Am I surprised they lost? No, because I don't know what the fuck Philadelphia is. I just don't. I just don't. They can beat anyone. They can lose to anyone. It's just Philadelphia. It's just Philadelphia. So the top 5 teams. These are the teams I think are the scariest within the top 10. These are the ones that I think are gonna be you're all gonna have to play on your A game to beat these top teams. I think they're really strong. So I think these are the top 5 teams. Miami has done pretty solid this season. Their only loss was to the number 4 ranked team. I think have done equally well this season. I think these teams pretty much even. I'm putting Wild Chargers in front because they did beat Miami. Atlanta, they have been the best team this season. If you were to go back and watch all the replays and everything like that, they have performed the best this season. However, I'm still putting them at 3 because I think there's still a lot to prove with Atlanta. If someone shuts down Deontay, what the fuck happens with Atlanta? I don't know. I don't know if Atlanta can pull through games when Deontay gets shut down. And someone's going to. I would say multiple people are going to. When it comes to the last few weeks and in the playoffs, people will shut Deontay down in some way. And then what's going to happen with this team? Can this team pull through if Deontay isn't just sitting there popping off? I don't know. If you were to say, okay, Atlanta should be number 1, they've performed the best this season by far. You are right, they have. But this isn't a standings video. This is who I believe is most likely to win the championship. And that's why I have Houston number 1. Even though Houston did lose to Miami. It was a huge win for Miami. I literally had to make every prediction correct, and I kind of did, and that is the only reason I beat this team is because I made every 50-50 correct, which is in the end just luck. This team is fucking amazing. The coach is insane. I think this team's really good. There is, I guess you could say it's about every team, so I'm probably just not even gonna say it. But yeah, this team I think is really strong. Green Bay popping off still. This team's amazing. It's really good. Yeah, I think these are the big clear threats in the top 10. These 5 teams here, I think. If they were to lose a game to teams in 6 to 9, would I be overly surprised? Not really. But I do think the odds are not heavily, but they are a lot. Like not heavily, but they are favored. These top 5 teams will be favored over these teams below them, I think. And I think they would probably win like 7 times out of 10. But I wouldn't be shocked if one of these teams did win. I just think these teams are slightly better. I think they're slightly better. So these are the rankings going into week 4. I'm pretty hyped about how this season's going so far. We're gonna get into the standings and the kill tier list and a small playoff breakdown, and we're gonna go over everything in the weekly breakdown video. Gonna do it a video this week, so hope you all enjoyed the tier list. Let me know what you thought, and see you in the next video.